Hi friend, today I am kicking off a new series that I'm calling Creator Spotlight, where we do a deep dive into a creative to learn from them and their journey. And today we are talking about Doja Cat. And I'll admit, she is controversial, but for the purpose of learning from her journey, we will not be focusing on her controversy today. Doja Cat is one of the most unpredictable artists of our time. One day she's a quirky pop star who sometimes raps. The next, she's shaving her head on IG Live and dropping a full rap album. And later, embracing a darker, more villainous persona with Scarlet. The internet reacts, confused, entertained, and sometimes outraged. But Doja does what she wants, whether people like it or not. Her journey has been messy, chaotic, but unapologetically her own. And honestly, that is inspiring because through her evolution, she's taught me some powerful lessons about embracing my inner demons, rejecting expectations, and fully owning my creative identity. In 2023, Doja fully leaned into her villain era. She called her fans crazies, mocked cancel culture, and shed every last bit of her polished mainstream image. She even reacted to backlash by doubling down, releasing a single called Demons, and even showing up to events dressed like one. This wasn't just about shock value. This was about Doja owning her transformation and saying, "This is who I am," and standing in it. Let's do a quick pivot to psychology and look at a concept called shadow work, which teaches us that repressing our darker emotions, our anger, defiance, sadness, or even just our weirdness only makes us more disconnected from ourselves. And this is called our shadow self, and facing it is a key part to our self-actualization. And Doja, whether intentionally or not, tapped into this. Instead of running from controversy or trying to stay likable, she leaned in, exploring the darker parts of herself and reclaimed control. And that's a powerful creative lesson, embracing every version of yourself, even the ones that people don't understand or don't like. And I get it. This may seem like a scary thing to do, but it's empowering, allowing you to take full ownership of yourself. And this translates to a more authentic creative voice and just living a more authentic life overall. And in case I haven't said authentic enough, I want to talk a little bit more about authenticity. Society loves to put women into neat little boxes. The good girl, the relatable pop star, the chill, non-problematic creative. Doja actively refuses all of it in an unapologetic, badass way, might I add. When she shaved her head and eyebrows on Instagram Live, people freaked out. She's having a breakdown, they said. But she wasn't. She was having a breakthrough. Doja was tired of performing a version of herself that wasn't real anymore. And in that moment, she chose herself. She chose to honor her desires and her authenticity, despite it being something that fell outside of what was expected of her. And that moment taught me something. People will always create narratives about you and expect you to live them out. But the moment you stop caring about their approval, that's when you truly take control of your identity. And from this, you can also learn how to step into parts of yourself that you fear may not be accepted. And after she shaved her head, she came back to Instagram, and in that live, she focused on the struggles that she had with her hair. And as a Black woman, I can relate. I was able to read between the lines of what she was saying. She said that she never liked having hair and that she always wanted to shave it but didn't. And then she went on to talk about all of the ways she wore her hair that didn't feel natural to her. And she was likely trying to live up to the impossible beauty standards put on Black women and our hair. And I won't get too deep into that, but if you know, you know. It was freeing for her to shave it all off. She wasn't just shaving her hair. She was releasing herself from the need to live up to standards and expectations that she felt suffocated by. And her acceptance of her authentic self in such a radical way translated into her art. And as creatives, we're often expected to be palatable, to make art that's digestible, likable, safe. But Doja reminds me that my creative voice is mine, not the internet's, not my audience's, not the people buying my work, mine. Doja also reminds us that we contain multitudes, that creative identity is fluid, and it cannot be put in a box. Doja also reminds us that we contain multitudes, that creative identity is fluid and it cannot be put in a box. I was first introduced to her through her song So High, and at that time I just thought she was an up-and-coming pop girly, and although she did rap on the song, I didn't really see her as a rapper. Then she went viral with Mooo, transitioned into a pop rap darling, and then dropped Scarlet, an album with no radio-friendly hits, just pure, unadulterated rap. And she could have very easily stayed in her pop rap lane and continue making those commercially successful hits, but that wasn't authentic to where she was creatively. So she chose herself. And what she taught me is my creative voice isn't one fixed thing. It's allowed to change. And one of the biggest creative traps is feeling like you have to stick to what works. If people love you for one thing, there's pressure to continue doing it. But Doja breaks that rule. She reinvents herself whenever she feels like it. And that's the freedom I want in my creative journey, to experiment, evolve, and not be afraid of change. And what's one of the most radical things Doja did? She stopped trying to be liked. She literally told her fans, "If you don't like me, leave." That level of self-assurance is rare, especially in a world where artists and creatives are expected to constantly cater to an audience. But let me tell you something, seeking approval kills creativity. If you're always creating with other people's opinions in mind, or measuring yourself against another creative, you'll never fully express yourself. Doja reminds me to make things for me first. If people like it, great. If they don't, that's fine too. Because the moment I start creating for approval instead of for myself, I've already lost control and I'm no longer doing something that's meaningful. And I create for the meaning, not for the approval. At the end of the day, Doja Cat's career is a masterclass in self-liberation. She reminds me to embrace my shadow self, reject the need to be good or likable. She also showed me how to let my creative identity evolve and grow, and not just stick to the things that I have received approval for in the past. She reminds me that creating is for myself first, not for approval. And that's the energy I want to continue bringing into my creative journey. So what do you think? Has Doja Cat's evolution inspired you in any way? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're on a journey to reclaim your creative voice, I'd love to hear about it. That's all for today. I hope you learned something from this video, and I encourage you to channel some of these lessons into your life. I'll see you in the next video.